let's get straight into the issue of headlines, Parker, because the first one is an absolute. It's a masterpiece. This is a headline that does not come about every day.
Oh yeah. So when I say so, I was like I just said, I was on my way home back from the Ravens game, and I opened my phone, and I suddenly see Antonio Brown publicly quit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday by on the sidelines stripping off his pads, had a shirt on under it, took that shirt off while taking off his gloves somehow at the same time, tossed it all into the crowd, and then went and did some jumping jacks and dancing in the end zone, and then ran right into the tunnel. Um, after the game, that was obviously in the middle of the third quarter, and it was a stunner. Commentators were dumbfounded. His teammates were some combination of angry and confused. And Bruce Arians, after the game at the post-game press conference, explicitly said he is no longer a Buck. Kind of left it at that. Made it very clear that that he had no future with that team. I did some digging into this. The public theory right now has something to do with Antonio Brown. He wasn't getting big targets, and it is claimed that BA may have just benched him for not necessarily the remainder of the game, but he may have said something along the lines of telling him to go back to the locker room or telling him to sit on the bench. And that was what started all this, because for people who follow contract stuff, Antonio Brown was on the verge of making an extra $1 million on the year. He needed 8 more receptions to make 333,000. He needed 55 more yards to get 333,000, and he needed 1 receiving touchdown to get 333,000 in the regular season. All of which was possible when you have Tom Brady, and when you have a good, maybe great offense, and you're a pretty solid, talented player. So it kind of, he threw away $1 million. That's something that a lot of people have been saying, but it also kind of speaks to what other defenders of him have been saying, where this could be a major mental health thing, where he's clearly at this point maybe a little bit unstable. So I'm, on a personal side, I'm worried for him, but on a sports side, I'm understand why the team would be furious with him. He did not fly home with them, reportedly.
No.
And
there's actually a video I saw on social media. I'm almost
driver,
100,
yeah.
I'm almost 100% it's legit. It literally, there's an Uber driver taking a video, and then he just points his camera to the back seat, and Antonio Brown is just sitting there on his phone,
and he's
like,
laughing about it.
Yeah, he does, and then he posted on his Instagram or Twitter, I can't remember which. Like, I forgot what the caption was, but it's just him, like, basically just bragging about himself, just like he has no shame whatsoever for what he did. I'm actually glad that Bruce Arians had that response, because
yes, that was the right answer.
So one thing that always pissed me off when I especially was playing sports, back in high school or whatever, like, was when when head coaches would treat certain players differently. And I get that certain players are obviously better than others. I'm not denying that. But whenever someone obviously just has a complete meltdown on the field, especially during a game, you have to demonstrate your authority. You have to demonstrate your power, and that action will not fly. And so I was glad by the response that Arians had. Going forward, though, I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, just to talk about them very quickly. How do you? I mean, I know they have injuries, not denying that, but still, man, the Jets were in that thing to the very last second. Tom Brady just made a great play with, like, I think, like 19 seconds left for like a 33-yard touchdown.
A entirely unknown receiver too. To add on to that,
I honestly don't even know.
I couldn't tell you who it was. I looked it up last night. It was genuinely someone I'd never heard of. It could be a rookie, could be an 8th year for all I know. And no disrespect to that player. I watched the highlight. You made a very good catch. Good throw by Tom Brady, and that was a needed play. You won your team that game. All due respect to you. Still don't know who you are.
Yeah, very. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, at least just from the game standpoint, is that I think it's really 2 things. One, I think there's a ton of attitudes on that team and a ton of personalities. That's not always a bad thing. But especially when you have people like Antonio Brown who are as toxic as they are, it's really going to be hard for them to I feel like I'm very curious as to see how the Buccaneers respond from both the game as well as this incident, like, because the playoffs are right here. I mean, the playoffs are essentially here, so there is no time to basically, like, okay, we gotta like they have to respond immediately. There is no time to just maybe drop a game or two. They have to obviously respond now. And now with the defense of Tampa Bay just seemingly like they give up a lot of points, and this is to a Jets squad that doesn't score a lot of points. So
Yeah, and
Buccaneers
that was a depleted Jets team too. One of my buddies is a Jets fan, so he was telling me about the fact that they nearly won that game, missing one or two of their preferred wide receivers, their two best running backs, their starting center and their starting left tackle, as well as a good amount of defensive personnel. And Zach Wilson looked like a Pro Bowler against a Tampa Bay defense that we at least thought had bounced back. And no, they looked like the Jets looked like a good team, and the Bucs for the first three quarters did not look great. I will say it speaks volumes to what you were just talking about. Some personalities on this team, a bit of ego. It speaks volumes that one of the best players in that game was a player who is famously a big team man and a big non-ego guy, even though he has a big personality, Rob Gronkowski. He has a lot of personality, and he's been in the league for a while, so he has every right to have an ego, but he never plays like he's better than anyone. He never acts like he is superior, and it's part of his goof factor. But all due respect on Gronk, he played that game as a real teammate because he didn't have a touchdown. He wasn't calling for the ball in the end zone, but he marched down the field as many times as he needed to, and he made plays for them and got other guys open because of it.
I think, yeah, I agree with that too. Bottom line here, just to kind of wrap it up, Tom Brady, if the Buccaneers have any chance of trying to repeat as Super Bowl champions, this is kind of an obvious statement. Tom Brady's gonna have to carry this team to the Super Bowl. There's no other way to say it. Because last year
he's never actually done.
That's not completely true, but my point is, last year the defense was certainly capable. I mean, I can remember vividly the Buccaneers pass rush back in the NFC
probably
Championship
the most
last
dominant
game.
D-line
That
in football last year.
They were all over Aaron Rodgers, especially in that second half. I really don't see that happening again this year, especially with their with the most recent play we've seen from them. So once again, even though Tom Brady, 44 years old, I believe, he's going to have to probably have his best playoff run of his entire career if he wants to have any shot of making the Super Bowl this year.